I'm Moto Gamer along with Steve Lene here. What's up, Steve? How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. Tonight's episode of the podcast is about a KSB Halloween. Tonight we're going to share our KSB memories. For those of you who do not know, Steve and I attended the Kentucky School for the Blind in Louisville together. I came in 1988 and was there until 2001. So, Steve, when did you first start going to KSB?
I think it was around 2000. 1999. I think.
99. Okay, yeah. I
But
believe
I
it.
think I did start attending though during the summer program too. I
Yeah,
think.
I remember that because if I remember correctly, me, you, Blaine, who unfortunately I couldn't get on here tonight, was there. We all hung out. I remember. Let's see. We're talking about the fall and Halloween. So, do you have any fond fall memories of KSB from your time?
I think it was somewhere around there, but I can't remember exactly.
All right.
Eh,
No, I was asking if you have any memories of being there during the fall and during the Halloween season and all of that.
yeah, I do remember there was like a Halloween party or something.
Yeah, we had that, and we had the haunted houses, and the apple. We had apple bobbing and dances and cookies and cakes, all the good stuff that would get you fat.
Yeah,
So, would you like to share one of your favorite KSB Halloween memories?
I think that I remember being in the I think the dorm and then going through the campus premises. I think it was like one of those like a haunted house like sort of thing on the campus grounds. I think it was.
Yeah, they had those. And for those of you who don't know, when I was there, I came before Steve did, and when I was there, we would go. The Lions Club had a haunted house, and we would all go to that. And that was just, oh man, I thought it was the bee's knees because it was real big. They had smoke screens and fog and black lights and graveyards with zombies that would grab you. And I remember the intro to this haunted house from the Lions Club. It was a big dragon head, and to get into the house area, he would open up his mouth and he would take a big bite. Of people going into the
Hey,
haunted house. And,
hey, yep.
we had bingo and Halloween Lions Club bingo. We'd go to that. And then, as you were talking, we did do the whole on campus thing with haunted houses and Halloween dances and parties and whatnot. I remember back in, I believe it was 1997 or 98. I believe it was 97. Kind of a funny story. I had to struggle to do this homework assignment, get it printed off for a teacher. I believe it was Miss Creasy. And I also was like, "Oh God, the dance is tonight. Oh crap!" I had to juggle the dance and getting that assignment printed off. But finally, I got that assignment printed off and got to the Halloween dance, and I was like, "Oh, thank God." And for
Yeah,
those of you who don't know, Miss Creasy was a real strict teacher, but she did care a lot.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I remember a lot of things and stuff, but some things are a little fuzzy too, pretty much.
yeah, it's been
Yeah,
a while for you.
I remember that. I remember a few things that was kind of funny though too. At KSB,
Hmm.
I remember when Brian was being chased and stuff from I can't remember if it was Jason Pryor and the others or who it was that was chasing Brian, but he went to death for the dorm.
Yeah, I remember that. So, do you have any fond memories of like going through any? Like, did you ever help out with the haunted houses?
I actually haven't helped out, but I was pretty much participating in walking through. I guess pretty much and stuff for it.
So you went through. Yeah, there was one that I helped with. I think in 2000, where I had to help paint tombstones, and then um, the next year, no, that was let me think. Yeah, no, that was 1999. I painted tombstones, I think. And then 2000, we had the rec center fixed up as a haunted mansion, and I think it was Stephanie Brown, no Stephanie Brown Davis, who was the guide. She was in dressed up as a flower. Well, I was dressed up in a scream type deal. I had to jump out and grab, scare everybody, and which I did to great effect. It was little kids, so the little ones, they're gonna get scared more easily than the older guys. So it was a fun time, getting to experience it from both sides of the spectrum, getting to go through it. And I think the one I went through was a haunted woods type situation.
Yeah.
It was
Hey,
a,
is my voice too loud
you're
or anything?
fine, you're fine, you're fine.
Yeah, I was wondering, but that I can't find the settings of Windows 10 pretty much and stuff, but this is my microphone pretty much that I'm using.
Nice.
Is it
So,
okay? I got
yeah,
it for
you're
40
fine.
bucks.
Hey, you're fine. So, do you have any memories of, the cool fall weather, the changing leaves, anything like that?
I don't really remember too much and stuff, but I do remember some things that was uh 'cause I was going to both KSB and also Seneca High School at the same time, but it was so
Yeah, I remember
it was
that.
like during the mornings it's
Right.
Seneca, and then during the afternoons and
It,
evenings and
it,
stuff.
you were at
Because I was staying on the
KSB.
campus and stuff for the during the week, I think.
Yeah, I remember that. And remember how around this time of year it would start to get cooler, and the leaves would just all start changing.
Uh, could you repeat that?
Do you remember how around this time of year the weather would get cooler, and then the leaves
Yeah,
it started to change? It was just so beautiful around campus, wasn't it? All the trees,
yeah. I
especially
remember the
the
trees and leaves colors changing and stuff.
yeah, they would change, and then it would just be the most beautiful thing. I mean, see, for those of you who don't know, the campus had two trees. A tree around. There was a tree near the food service building, and then there were some trees near the rec. And when they would all change for the fall, it was just so beautiful. I mean, just some of the best experiences
Yeah,
in terms of fall weather. And what I liked was, and you might agree with me there on this too, Steve, but it would start to get cooler, right? That would mean we would get our warmer clothes out, you know, because we needed to get ready for winter and colder weather to come. And we would have a bonfire. Do you remember going to any bonfires at KSB?
yeah. I remember some things and stuff, but as like I was saying, some things are hard to remember because I've been through like the different phases and stuff. So some things is
Yeah,
hard, kind of busy.
yeah, I get it. Okay, I'm going to share a story about a bonfire. I mean, I went to several bonfires when I was at KSB. We would have them around this time of year, good bonfire weather, lows in maybe the late upper 50s, lower 60s, highs in maybe the lower to mid 70s, maybe the upper 60s. And we would just go and hang out and tell ghost stories and tell spooky stories. So, Steve, do you have any scary KSB stories, like ghost stories, you'd like to share with the listeners?
I remember the story I think was at KSB. I don't think it was like during that time, but I think it was like somewhere in between. Like
Mm-hmm.
I think it was like Valentine's Day or something. Pretty much stuff that
Mm-hmm.
people were doing like that. That I think the card givings and stuff like that. Pretty much.
Right. But I mean, do you remember any ghost stories from KSB, or would you like me to share one?
Yeah, I don't really remember any dark stories or like any scary stories, but I
Oh,
do
I
remember.
got. Oh, I have plenty of those.
Yeah,
Oh yeah. You want me to share?
It, that yeah, I just see some things and stuff that's been kind of strange and stuff. Pretty much that I guess I'm like maybe one of the few that's actually gifted to so I see things and stuff, even though
Hmm.
uh, you can't actually see them physically or something. But it's like it is
You can see it in another sense.
yeah, kind of like a third like the third eye sort of opening and stuff from time to time and stuff. And it's like
Oh yeah.
back then and stuff like that, I actually didn't know how I was doing it and or how to control it pretty much. But I have seen some things that would make us the hairs in your arm players go up.
Oh wow. So, okay, listeners on Twitch, I'd like to share a KSB scary story since we are gonna, this is a Halloween themed episode. Um, One of the things I remember, one of the stories I remember hearing about was the Black Janitor. And for those of you who don't know, at KSB back in the 1950s and 40s, before desegregation, there was a campus for white students and a campus for black students. And the one day they came in, at the black campus, and the black janitor there was found dead, and they say that he roams the campus, still looking to do his job, at the school. And then there was another one about a house parent. I think it was Miss Merwin. Did you ever hear about that story, Steve, about Miss Merwin
Uh,
being
I don't think I heard of it, but it might refresh my memory probably.
all right? All right. Basically, the legend goes, from what I heard, she was a really strict house parent, and one day they woke up and found her deceased in the dorm where she was working.
Yeah,
And just so many great. I mean, I remember so many great times. Um, I remember. Let's see. Remember, Steve, how in the fall they would, do the whole electric fireplace in the food service?
yeah, I remember that. I think.
Yeah, they would send that what they would do sometimes for like Halloween parties. They would get the electric fireplace going, and we would do uh, that, and then we would have our cookies and all that, our punch, and then they use the electric fireplace again at Christmas time. But I remember that was rare because I remember for the most part we would have actual bonfires with roasting marshmallows and s'mores and you know ghost stories, and we would all that kind of stuff.
Hey, yep.
So, see,
Actually, s'mores sounds like a good idea at the moment.
I know, right? I unfortunately would have to avoid the s'more because I just got through eating dinner. But uh,
Hey,
what was your favorite? I know you were probably there for maybe what one fall because you graduated what 2000 I think or 99.
I actually graduated in 1999, pretty much and stuff.
Okay, so you graduated with
Seneca, pretty much and stuff. But I wasn't for sure if we were gonna do like both of for
both
my
ceremonies,
my homeschool Seneca and
KSB,
KSB at the same time or not, pretty much.
right? So you were there for maybe you may not have been there, for the fall of 98. I was there. I remember we had the Halloween party that year. You might remember this. It was in the rec center, and they had a Happy Halloween banner hung over the gym, and the dance was in the gym that year. So, and the haunted house, I think they did. Mine have been a hayride activity. I'm not really for sure, but I do remember very, very vividly we had apple bobbing.
Hey, yeah, that I do remember.
Yeah, they had apple bobbing, and they gave us bags of Halloween candy. Oh, that was good stuff.
Hey, I do remember it a few times, pretty much and stuff. Cause I think I got my first apartment on I think it was in 1999, like right after school, pretty much stuff, and then
Mm,
I ended up being there for about I think from 1999 to 2006 or I mean 2006 or 2007, pretty much. I think.
cool, cool, cool.
Yeah, I pretty much lost a great deal of money, pretty much stuff, and ended up having to move out, pretty much. So I moved back home.
Yeah, that sucks. So, what is your do you have any funny stories from KSB that you would like to share from your time there?
I do remember pretty much like that. I think it'd be a different time though, pretty much.
Hmm.
I remember going on that skiing trip pretty much for
The
I think
seniors.
graduation.
Yeah, that's just a senior thing. That was just a senior thing. Yeah, I remember that. I didn't go
Yeah,
on mine because I was in public school my senior year.
yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah. I've been wondering on I, I might call David Perry pretty much maybe sometime this week and see what he's been up to. Eh, David Perry gave me his phone number a while back.
cool, cool. So, okay, back to KSB. Um, do you remember how they would have all the track meets during the fall and they would start doing the wrestling around this time of year?
Yeah,
Oh, did you ever join the wrestling team?
I don't think I had, but I think I remember like some things and stuff, but the I'd have to go down through memory lane to figure that part out.
Oh man, I remember. I can give a brief history of the KSB wrestling team. I was on it from 1991 up to 1997 with a 3 year break from 93 to 96. Um, and I started out on the JV level, and around October, around this time of year, we would start wrestling practice. So that's another thing about the fall that I remember very vividly was track season would be coming to an end, and then wrestling season would start. And then when wrestling started, that's when the weather got cooler, the days got shorter, I remember vividly going to practice, and I'd be leaving practice, and it would be dark outside or dusk.
Yeah,
And then I remember very vividly, it would be cold, like during when it got colder. The weather would get colder, and I would be leaving practice, like, oh my god, get me out of here. And then it's like freezing outside, and then I would race to the food service, eat my dinner, and go back to the dorm and do what I had to do. But I remember, I believe it was Halloween of 1997. We had this scavenger hunt type thing we had to do. This was before you came, and it was all KSB history themed, but it with a spooky twist. It was pretty fun. Um, so Steve, do you remember by chance the the any like fall themed, like Halloween themed radio station stuff at KSB, or do you not remember that?
I never remember, but there's like some things and stuff that I've been like it's like my memory's been kind of coming back a little bit on some things and stuff, and then
Mm-hmm.
hit the rest of my memory and stuff. It's like there's like some kind of a time zap or like a time lapse or something. Like
Mm-hmm.
I remember very little, and then my memory comes back to me, and then I remember certain events and stuff like that, pretty much.
Yeah, all right, cool. I remember quite a bit from my time at KSB because I had some pretty cool experiences, and I remember around Halloween they would give us like different like pumpkin themed cookies, and we would go to When I was younger, I remember going to Huber's Farm in Indiana. Do you remember going there?
Yeah, I do remember going there.
Yeah, we went
And
to Huber's Farm, and we would get to pick a pumpkin to bring home. You know, it's not one of the great big ones, but a small one. And we would take it home to our families, and we would paint it. You know, we would bring it home, and then we would have it for Halloween decoration.
yeah, yeah. I do remember when I was at KSB. As a fact, I think I was actually the first place that I've that was at where it, I was swimming from the in the pool, pretty much like from like the shower end all the way to the deep end and stuff, which I never swam to the deep end before, so I was actually thinking I was going to drown pretty much, but somehow I made it, so I guess that was a good thing.
Yeah, I remember that big pool too. I remember we would. I remember a story actually. Now that you bring that up, I remember a scary KSB story about the pool. I think this was back in the '70s when Coach Larry Mann was there. There was a student that actually drowned in the pool, and the legend goes if you're in the deep end after midnight, you can feel this this hand actually try to pull you under
Yeah,
because she tried to get help and she couldn't get help. So that's another one of them scary KSB stories. So, do you have any words of wisdom for the KSB students that are currently attending the school? Do you have any advice you would like to give current students of KSB or future KSB students that might be listening?
I do have some advice pretty much and stuff.
All right,
Eh,
shoot.
eh, Study hard and uh, keep your dreams and stuff like that going and uh, stay positive pretty much and stuff. Don't let negativity drag you down.
Oh, most definitely. That's definitely a big thing there. Also, I'd like to say my words of wisdom would be do as your teachers say. You may not like it, you might hate it, you might not agree with it, but in the end, the outcome is going to be a lot better for you in the long run, and it's going to be a situation where you are going to be doing a lot better off in life, and you're going to be more set up for success. Now, as for things to avoid at KSB, as far as pitfalls and traps, as I call them, don't let the people try to get you to do something for the first time because it might be a mistake that you might regret. And whenever the dorm parents tell you to have you do something, don't fight back. Just do it.
Hey, yep. I remember that was actually the place where I was learning to cook, I think, too.
Oh, I know.
Eh, it's kind of
Oh, yeah.
difficult when not having had the confidence on cooking pretty much as if I used to be kind of scared of even operating a stove.
Oh, I know. KSB did a lot of great things, as far as independent skills. And yeah,
Hey,
remember how they were really, really strict? I think that was a good thing because that kind of helped to with the structure and discipline that they teach you.
hey, yep. I always enjoyed hit the class with seafood and pretty much except with
Oh yeah, kung fu with
their
seafood and
leisure time.
yeah, I didn't get into kung fu with seafood and the thing that got me was when I got put out of wrestling due to undisclosed issues, um, and I couldn't come back to into wrestling for KSB. That kind of changed my perspective on things. And that's when I discovered the radio station and broadcasting and DJing. It was great. It was a great experience. So, Steve, who was your favorite KSB teacher? Do you have any particular teachers you liked?
Um, I always liked. I think it was Miss Weston, I think was her name.
Ah, good old Miss Weston. I remember her. I remember her very, very well. And I remember Mr. Ennis. I remember Miss Weston too. I liked Mr. Man. This was kind of predating your era, but Mr.
Eh,
Man. I remember Mr. Pastel. Jerry Pastel. Do you remember him? He was a ceramics teacher, and then he became a practical living teacher.
yeah, I liked uh, the music teacher. I think his name was
Coddington.
yeah. Eh,
Yeah, I
eh,
had before him. I had Miss Nolan, Dorothy Nolan. I had her for orchestra and for chorus. And I remember around Halloween time, we would learn spooky violin songs and spooky chorus songs. And we had a program for Halloween, I remember each year. I kind of have a story I'd like to share with the listeners. And I'm sure if anyone from KSB who played violin for Miss Nolan is listening, you'll remember this. I remember I was in advisory period. I think Mrs. Creasy was our advisor, and it was around time for the program. So any violin people had to go over to the music building and do the program. Well, Miss Creasy was hotter than a jalapeno pepper, and
yep.
she was hot because she didn't want to do. She had plans for us for advisory period that day, but when you were a music student, Miss Nolan superseded that, and you had to go play for her. So she was
I
not so
liked
thrilled, but we did it, and it was a good show.
yeah. I liked I think his name was Bill or the sound like Bill Collins or something with the guy music teacher or something.
Mr. Coddington, I remember him.
Yeah, he, he,
Sadly, he,
he,
you know,
he was telling me he was telling me pretty much stuff that he was oh he used to play in or knew how to play in Australian didgeridoo, which is like
nice.
a very interesting instrument pretty much.
Yeah, I know. I remember him. He was the first. I remember around Halloween time. He was the teacher. He played Ozzy Osbourne for us because he was teaching us about Randy Rhoads and his guitar patterns.
Hey,
I'm like, oh wow, this is great because I got to listen to Ozzy and music and rock out, and that's how I got introduced to was through him. So if Miss Sharon Connington is listening, R.I.P. Mr. Connington, you were an amazing teacher.
it actually, I remember I actually did make a recording a long time ago. When it was in Evans Hall, pretty much stuff where I was recording on a cassette tape, pretty much of doing some music out in the area where people would be hanging out and stuff.
Yeah, oh, I remember that. I never did like music recording at KSB. I never got into that, but I was more of the radio station jock type guy.
Yeah.
So I
I
remember
actually
that.
would remember one guy had a I think it was a 4 track
Set
cassette
recorder.
or like 4 track tape recorder or something pretty much and
I think if I'm
somebody
not
also had a reel to reel machine.
yeah, I think in the music room, in the band room, they had an old 8-track studio, like a real small setup just for like demos and things like that. But nothing really really high end production, kind of like not what we're doing tonight. But
Hey,
yeah, I remember plenty of sessions of those. Being on the air. I remember doing Halloween radio shows. I would play Ozzy and King and Merciful Fate and all the scary stuff that you know if they would have only known what they were getting, it probably would have got banned.
hey,
All right, so real quick to kind of wrap up our podcast, we did our advice. Do you have any words of wisdom, advice for any of the seniors at KSB that might be graduating in the 2022?
Yeah, actually, I do pretty much put that. It, like for anyone that would have goals, maybe in pursuing college or something, but maybe like hesitant or something, maybe I would say go for it if you actually can do it. Pretty much. Eh, I wasn't able to do the college or go to college because of mostly not having the money. Pretty much.
It's all about the
I think
money.
I could have pretty much that like if I were to give it a grant, pretty much, but the way I understand it, eventually you got to pay the grant back.
Yeah, that's how that works.
Hey, yep.
It's all about the Monday. Remember that. Okay, so my advice for seniors to kind of close before I make closing comments and things like that is again, if you have goals and dreams, don't be afraid to pursue them. Don't let people tell you you can't do it because you can. It's out there. There's always a way to do it, even if it's not, a career path. I mean, look at me for instance. My career is much different than what I'm doing here on this podcast. So yeah, if you have goals and dreams, don't be afraid to reach out and reach for those dreams because they're there and they're waiting for you. And to all who will be listening on the podcast, either here on Twitch or over on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Radio Public, on anywhere else this podcast is going to be available, which will be released on October 29th, the weekend of Halloween. I want to wish everyone a happy and safe Halloween. Have a happy and safe start to the holiday season. And I will see you in the next episode of the Blindside Podcast. Until then, for Steve Lemay, I've been your host, Blind Metal Gamer, saying so long, everyone, and peace out.
Hey, yep.